Hey everyone, welcome to the Tune Project, and welcome to our 4-part mini-series addressing questions you should ask when looking for a new violin. If you've been following along with the series, last week we addressed the question, does size matter? And if you didn't get a chance to watch that one, be sure and go check that out. And this week we're delving into the topic of bows and how to know which bow is right for you. Oftentimes people think that a violin and bow are one and the same and they just come together in this nice, neat little package. And this, unfortunately, is just not the case. So that's why it's so important to find a violin and bow that complement each other well so you can have the best possible playing experience. The two most common types of bows are wood bows and carbon fiber bows. There are many, many different brands and bow makers within these two types, but those are our two main categories that we'll be talking about today. When you're going bow shopping, you want to make sure you have your violin that you'll be using with that bow so that you can test out the bow with your violin and see how they work together. This relationship between the violin and bow is so incredibly important because while one bow might sound fantastic when paired with your violin, another might sound not so great and also might not be that comfortable to play with your violin. It's important to consider what type of situations you plan to be playing in. So if you do a lot of playing outdoors, then you might be best suited with a carbon fiber bow that's a little bit more durable and can handle weather a little bit better. If you are planning on playing in an orchestra or in classical settings, then a wood bow might be your best option. The weight of the bow and how it handles the strings is typically what draws people to a particular type of bow. If you've been playing the violin for a while, then your job is pretty simple. It's just a matter of trying out several different bows with your violin and seeing if you have a particular preference. If you prefer maybe a heavier bow or a lighter bow, what feels more comfortable to play? If you have no idea and you've never even held a bow before, this can be a little bit more tricky, but if this is the case for you, then this is a great time to start building your personal preferences and you can always change them in the future. That's the beauty of playing an instrument. It doesn't have to be the same forever. You can always change little things about the strings, the instrument itself, a bow, different things like that. As for me, I've been using a carbon fiber bow for the past several years. I play a lot of outdoor gigs, so I find that it's very durable and handles unpredictable weather well. I also really like the weight of this bow. It tends to be a little bit on the heavier side. Now, this isn't the case for all carbon fiber bows, but mine in particular, and I find that because of the weight, it tends to be a bit easier to control. But again, as I said earlier in the video, it all is just a matter of personal preference, and you might find a lighter bow easier to control, and you might really enjoy wood, and that's fantastic. I think it's important to try different types of bows, especially to begin with if you're not sure of your preferences, because then you can start to decide. It's just like with anything in life. You might try a particular hairstyle one day and then decide that it's not for you and then move on to the next. Or you might try a particular style of shoes and then decide that maybe they're not for you, and so you try another pair. And now, while I'm not advocating for just consuming and going through instruments and bows all the time, I think it is part of the process to an extent in developing your own personal preferences and to find an instrument and bow that are compatible and that you find the most joy in playing. Now, I didn't mention any brand names of bows in this video for a reason, because again, like with violins, I don't think that brand or violin maker name is important. I just think it's important to have that connection with your instrument, with your bow, find two that are compatible with one another, and you'll find joy in making music that way. Well, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you found it to be useful. I wish you the very best on your journey to finding a new violin, and I will see you in my next video. Happy practicing.